Hello and welcome back to my channel, My Journey to God. I was very hesitant about recording this video because for me it's very hard to talk about my past. Why? Because for me I left it behind. I know Jesus Christ have erased my sins and I know I live for him now, so I don't need to worry about that. But the reason why I decided to talk about is because there are things that a lot of people doesn't understand, like people who hasn't been touched by God. They don't know how can they believe in something that it doesn't exist. And I'm just go very briefly, because I know all of us have struggled in life in different things in all of our life, but I'm just going to go a little briefly and tell you where I come from. I've been through a different, not so much marriages, but I went through just having relationships. I have two kids. One it's has each kid has a different father. When I was in my early 30s, I was so sick and tired of life. I wasn't going to church. We never grew up being in the Lord or going to church. That wasn't part of our family. Although I got baptized when I was 16 at the Apostolic Church, I walked away from that for whatever reason. I don't even remember why. Between my 32 and 35 years old, I felt lost. I really felt like I had two kids from two different fathers. I'm not really with anybody. One of them wants to be with me. When the other one sees that this one wants to be with me, he wants to be with me now. So I have two men giving me all this attention, which I was going crazy. I didn't know where I wanted to be. Things were really crazy at that time. I was working 2 to 3 jobs to support my kids, my mother, in the home. And it wasn't like, for me, I was just like a normal a man, like what a man will think. And for me, it's really easy to understand because I went through it. For me, it was like I support. I bring food home, I take my kids out, I buy him good clothes, all these different things that I was bringing into our family. I felt like that was enough for me to be able to, if I wanted to go out and party and spend the night somewhere, I could, because I already did my part as the provider. So going through that kind of life, it got to a point where I started getting a pain on my left side. I've been a housekeeper for 29 years, and I was diagnosed with chronic pain. So at that point, I was just like suffering so much from all this circle, all this environment that I was in, that I really, believe me, I really wanted to die. I used to ask God, if you really exist, why do I have to go through all this pain? Why do I have to work so much? Why I never have time for my kids? Why I never, if I work, I don't have time to spend with my kids. If I'm with my kids, I don't have time to work. So it was just like this fight in my mind that I just couldn't get straight. There were all these questions that were hurting me, and it's like, if you really exist, I don't want to leave. What is the purpose of living if I'm not happy, I'm not enjoying life? What is the meaning of life? So then one day, another lady who used to clean houses, who lived about 2 doors down from me, she invited me to a Spanish women's retreat. So I'm like, whatever, I need some time off, let me go with these ladies. So it was like 5 of us staying in one room. And I guess I was going, but I was angry at if there was a God. Why? I had all these questions. So we get there on Friday, we got lost. So we finally got like to the last hour of the praying and preaching and praising God. So I remember these ladies like on their knees screaming and crying, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I'm like, I don't know what is this? All these women, and the music in the background, Christian music playing, and I almost felt like just like, this is not for me. I gotta get out of here. But I was going in a ride with somebody else. So then I decided to stay. For some reason, I just like got close into the stage where all the women were standing. And I just kind of like closed my eyes and I lifted my hands. And it must have been around 10 o'clock at night, and everything was going to shut down at 11. So I remember lifting my hands up to the sky, and I was screaming. I mean, I was literally screaming at God, saying, why? And then it just got to a point where I was like, my eyes closed. I was just like walking, and I didn't feel like I was walking. I don't know if I had my hands lifted. I don't know what happened, and I felt a touch. I think that I was so into it that I was bumping with some of the other ladies, and they decided to just like put me down. And at that point, I just like came back to reality, and I just kind of wiped my face, and I got up, and I was done. So we got to the hotel around 12:30 at night, and as soon as I went to bed, I fell asleep. I was out. The lady said to me that they stayed until about 3 o'clock in the morning talking, and I was like out. The next morning, you guys, glory be to God. I woke up and I got dressed and I went outside, and I felt this peace in my heart. And I felt like a veil completely went out of my eyes. And I looked around, and the trees looked greener. The sun looked brighter. The colors of the houses were just so much more vibrant. And I just, I didn't know what was going on. Then we went into the service. A few people spoke about their, how they did to come into God. And at that point, I was paying so much attention. I came back home on Sunday night, and I was just really in a different place. At that point, I started looking for places to go to praise God, to be with God. I started doing church hopping, and it just, there's so much more that I can add, but I'm just going to concentrate in what happened to me. Because at that point, I was dating someone, and he didn't want to commit to the relationship, and all the things happened. But at that point, I was like, I wanted to be good with God. So I started going to a church, and I really love the music. I love the service. I love everything about it. However, at the moment, I didn't notice that, but the church was only talking more about prosperity. You can do it with God. But I was so into it that I decided to become part of the ministry. And I was part of more than one ministry for some time. Then I kind of like broke up with the guy I was dating, because again, he didn't want to commit. And I started going to my daughter's church. And this is the City of Angels International Christian Church. And after a while, I studied the Bible. I noticed that they were very strict. And I started studying the Bible, and I was doing all right, but there were certain things that were like not fitting in my life. And I was just like, yes, no, yes, no. Finally, when I was still broken up with my ex-boyfriend, and I was getting ready to get baptized, when I came across my ex-boyfriend again, and we got back together. At that point, the way the church works is like you cannot date someone from outside the church. They really want to protect you, because they know that once you can be as Christian as you can, but if you start dating someone from outside the church, you're going to end up walking away. So I decided that I wasn't going to get baptized. I got mad at them. I blamed them because I wasn't getting baptized, saying that they were pressuring me too much, and I walked out of there. My daughter had gotten baptized, and she was very encouraged and happy that I was going to get baptized, but it didn't happen. At that point, I blamed everybody else but me. The real truth was that now I know that I couldn't handle the commitment, and I couldn't handle that I was going to have to like do a lot of changes in my life and commit to God and to the church. So then I walked away, and I went to back to the church where I used to go with now my boyfriend again. I'm gonna stop right there because my next step I'm gonna tell you how I became a newborn disciple, not Christian, a disciple. So thank you so much for watching my video. I hope it touches your heart, and I hope you can get something really good out of this. And you have any questions or any comments, or you want to talk with somebody if you're struggling with anything, go ahead and write it on the comments, and I will find a way to reach you out through either messenger or however I can do it. I mean, we need to help each other, and we need to really be part of really what God has to offer for us. So for now, thank you so much for watching this video. May the Lord bless you today and every day. And until next time, thank you.